A map of Sunset. It seems like it was never gonna end, but it ends up going the way of VCT Esports in a 14-12 fashion. Welcome back, everybody. And we gotta talk about this one because it seems like everybody was fighting back. There was no comeback. There was nothing where you actually saw one of the teams getting ahead. It was always 2 rounds, and the other one matches the same. Goes back and forth, goes all the way to overtime until the last couple mistakes over that we got to see, and it ends up giving the map to SAD.
Yeah, these are I think the matches that can be the hardest to call, especially because QOR, on their attacking side at least, did something different almost every single round, actually. They were like, hard B split, take mid, go A, push elbow, as an entire unit, wall off A link, right? All of that stuff. I think we should talk about the comps here a little bit and what the Sage achieved that maybe it was supposed to or maybe didn't, right? Because sometimes, the wall comes up, they can get a safe plant on B, but it wasn't the only gimmick they sort of leaned on. Sometimes in the post plant, they'd throw it up to cut off A link, for example. So decent versatility from the Sage, but I don't think it makes, at the end of the day, enough of a difference to maybe even be justified over, I don't know, another flash initiator or something,
Yeah, I was about to say, I would be prone to agree that I don't think the Sage brought the value that we assumed that it would.
Cypher.
Yeah, I mean, Ferbsa was uncontested. I mean, it felt like the first execute that QOR tried to pull with that wall where Ferbsa got accidentally or maybe intentionally boosted up, just completely said, oh, we can't do that play anymore, is what it almost sounded like for QOR, because they didn't hit that same approach a single time after that. Ferbsa just demanded control of the site, and at that point, it just never really felt like the Sage brought really any value on the offensive side. I mean, 4 for 8 in the post plants, that's not a number that you would assume would come through with the Sage to reinforce, whether that be by slow or being deeper, making that defense a little bit more labored to get into the site, or more importantly, just putting up a barrier orb that forces the defense to hit through one angle. But I don't know if there was a single time that they had that deep B main post plant setup that we would assume they would have brought together. So it was a little sloppy for QOR for sure on the offensive side, and SAD capitalized on it.
And for the Sage, we saw some ideas, and that's often more than we get for when we see a Sage. We see maybe 2 of the walls, and that's about it. They did bring a couple of different ones, a little bit more aggressive, some just to take that site. But then what? The problem is that, yeah, sure, you have a Sage, you put the wall, you go for aggressive play, you might get a kill, but then what? And that's where the problem was over and over again for QOR, where even if you capitalize from it, even if you create a little bit of delay, it seems like there were some layers that were missing into closing out the rounds and making the Sage actually be part of this composition. So that's when you see SAD, for many other reasons as well, though, take this win off Sunset, but it was extremely close. It did require some of the hero plays that we saw from Skarn, but I think overall they did have the better understanding of the game and they were keeping it close, Shift. So I feel like that's exactly what you need.
Yeah, again, they survived through some rounds, and overall, I think SAD's going to look back on this, and you throw away the couple of thrifty rounds that QOR had, you're thinking you probably should have won this map 13-8, 13-9. But a couple of mistakes that QOR capitalized on kept them in the driving seat for maybe longer than they should have been, considering that, again, that SAD defense really did put together a pretty solid approach. I mean, this was not the cleanest game of Sunset by any stretch of the imagination, but Darkus still able to find good value on the breach, even though there really wasn't much follow-up in terms of him hitting a good fault line and then the rest of the team bursting on. It was just a really scrappy game of Sunset that, again, SAD just kept finding their opportunities. I think in particular, obviously, Skarn, 8 first kills. He went 8-3 overall in those first duels. So that's great news in terms of putting yourself into a spot of having an early advantage, especially by way of your duelist. So, SAD take advantage, and now they go into their map pick, which, hey, who knows? They could 2-0 here.
Yeah, I always want to point out as well that Skarn versus Zeldris in the head-to-head is 9-1 over the course of that map. So when we have rounds in which the Razors are actually taking contact against each other, Skarn is absolutely rolling. Also, Dip wins 2-1 versus 2s. Those some massive clutches from this over. Again, this guy continues to be an extremely clutch player and has a couple of 3Ks as well. So on an individual level, 20 for 16, so decent, but really pivotal. And some of those really close moments was Dip. So got to hand to these guys. They are individually on a great level, and what great adjustments they've made to this roster to give them a chance here to really mix it up in Group B.
That's the thing, just a chance, it seems like it's enough for SAD with the way that they've been struggling, and they take that map number 1. Now we go into that second map of Haven, which we actually saw them take against Moy Shopify just last week, one of the topics of conversation that we had today. And when we jumped into this Haven last week, I didn't know what we were gonna expect because we know that SAD is that team that likes to bring the creativity, and I'm so intrigued to see once again not only the ISO but the deadlock that they played and won against more Shopify Uber.
Yeah, look, so Haven already, attacker-sided to some degree because of the three-site nature of the map. Some of the sites are also very challenging to retake. I'd say the A side especially. We saw 8 rounds against MXS for SAD. Like, they look really, really good here. And also, like, ISO right now is very, very powerful, just fundamentally, right? Just as a solo agent, can do a whole lot with that double tap. It is a little bit tricky to deal with. They can, the scariest part is that they can face tank a bloody operator shot. So you can use, you can almost, push an player off an angle just with a double tap, which is maybe not the best use of that ability, but we've seen it actually happen a couple times in that particular game where Marta's like holding an angle, sees the ISO, shoots the shield, has to sort of back away. The one downside, of course, is that ISO, you can see him earlier because of that double tap shield. So he protrudes around a corner slightly more. But when you're wide swinging or just, maybe using that peeker's advantage, it's not a huge disadvantage that your model is, easier to see, like, I don't know, a 100th of a second earlier.
Yeah. It's a couple things here that you bring up with the ISO that I feel like teams are honestly still figuring it out, because it's not like a Neon where you can be crazy mechanically, and that is just by itself the difference maker. It's more the ISO of how you want to play it, how you adapt it to the composition more than anything to make it work. So let's jump into the Zippo agent select. Let's see if the ISO and the Lurker are going to stay together for SAD Esports, and what Core have been bringing and cooking. It seems like it's about the same. When you get to see the Jet, it looks pretty standard. Obviously, not the Sky that used to be played, you don't really get the chance to see it anymore, so the KO is going to be there instead. Casters, take it away. Let's see if SAD can take this 2-0.
Thank you very much, Dan. Dryad. Yeah, Core Gaming with a very straightforward composition here.
Yep.
Probably looking to leverage their previous experience on this map and not reinvent the wheel too much, which is, it's fine. Zeldris gets to play the Jet here. Definitely needs to be wary of the ISO for the aforementioned reasons, but when Core get running, and we saw them get going on a couple of rounds, especially at the start of Sunset, they look very different. They look very disrespectful. They look very oppressive. They look very overwhelming. Zeldris on the Jet really gets to exacerbate that much more. Think back to their sort of Ascent games, right? So I'm fine with the comp from Core here. It's really going to come down to having T-Dog and Zeldris fire today.
I agree, and I think the other part about this, in terms of Core, especially starting off in the offense, is can they be more versatile and dynamic than just flash and dash, which it feels like this whole comp is built out for. We've seen comps like this over the course of Haven since Haven came out. Find your information with Sova, throw a flash in sight, dash on in towards it. That is very, very stock, very, very typical. The interesting part about this, with this particular double duelist setup, is that SAD Esports are going to have to show us what their defense really owns, because they didn't get a chance to really, they played 10 rounds worth of defense against Moist X Shopify, and it went evenly split between the two. Are we relying on Darkus being the one to be able to completely isolate and shut down a site by themselves? Because you have to feel like both Ferbsa and Skarn are going to look for early angles to take over, and that's going to be what or what your outside sites rely on, is being able to win these opening angles and then hold them. So we'll see how much investment comes through for SAD in terms of trying to control the outsides of the map.
Good early damage here for Dip. Lines up Snarly. Oh my goodness. Here come Core though. Yep. Come bustling down that A-long. Getting onto the side early is pretty darn big, and Zeldris wastes no time in getting tucked into hell. Can threaten now that short position. Grab that thrown down. Zeldris deftly sidesteps it, and Ferbs can't do a darn thing about the bullet trained right between his eyes.
Well, but Darkus done well. Off the reload, nearly gives him a chance at a third, but with that kill not going quite their way, it leaves Coburg by themselves. Barrier mesh is down. Wait, hold on a second. This is still winnable, and wow, the snap to T-Dog, impressive. Good idea on where Nerve was, just could not quite line up the headshot. And Core will sneak away after the first 2 kills go their way with a pistol.
Well, things considered, not too bad from SAD there. Not a very nuanced round. The defenders just essentially flood out of short there over towards A and try to pressure the site down. That's fine. They lost out pretty heavily on that A long there to the ghost pressure at long range. So we won't quite get to see what the comp is really designed to do just yet. But I want to point out Ferbsa does have double tap and a Sheriff Fort up here. Still pretty dangerous.
Absolutely. The double tap in particular, like you said, just the ability to just walk as a tank entryway is going to be huge in terms of what potential ISO brings to the table. We've seen it across just about everything over the last couple of weeks in particular. And this is another peculiar part. We've talked about deadlock quite a bit in the last handful of months now. And in particular, the barrier mesh being dropped early and then deleted, it just kind of makes Deadlock feel like it's just another warm body on the map. So all that utility gets destroyed. Core working on the plant, and SAD are going to have to default trying to play off the long Raptor C, which there is a trap wire in their way.
I think he speaks for himself there. If they're trying to play the angle as well. But the Ares is hitting hard. Darkest though, okay, with classic of all things find Snarly. And then Zeldris gets involved. When the scope weapon is there for the taking, he will snap it right on up. Ziff will be lit by this, but Ziff won't have really a chance to get a fair fight here. 2 bullets left in the chamber, 24 points of health, and Core convert.
And you got Zeldris warming up the scope a touch. Keep that in the back of your mind, because you assume that if he can find a way to afford an operator, he will purchase it and purchase it quickly. So clean 2-0, strong bonus here for Core. Not only with the Vandal, the Ares is going to pack a bit of a punch, but you also have the Hunter's Fury already earned up by T-Dog. So there's a lot here for Core in terms of how they want to execute. And again, if they keep putting stress on this C setup, be curious to see if SAD Esports decide to put Darkest somewhere else, because again, if that barrier mesh gets placed early and this gets instantly deleted, again, Darkest just turns into another warm body. The utility essentially turns into nothing.
Now, and look at how that is ignored. Zeldris though gets onto the side, but there was a sonic sensor on it itself. GrabNet as well, and a wall. When you have the Astra and the Deadlock both at this site, not only do you have the Deadlock util to slow down, you also have the Astra to play off of it.
Well, the double star placement just gives a little It gives a little bit more freedom for Darkest to drop that in more reactionary form, talking about the barrier mesh. And you can see like Core just tried to beat the timing of it and it doesn't work out because the star placement was so deep through C long. A little fadeaway Guardian shot does land back of sight, hence my surprise. But the problem here for Core is you don't have any options besides trying to gut check your way either through Garage or in towards this B site, especially with Ferbsa playing as deep as he is at A. And of course, Core will be aware that that could be a potential. So their only option here is trying to flood on into B.
Unbeknownst to Core, the vulnerability is in Garage. They're going to go for the B side instead. Pop flash around the corner attempted, but another face will be there. Skarn had to convert on that, but T-Dog finds a third, giving Core a chance in this round, albeit a slim one. Ferb's on his way over. A long way from the action. Darkest is in a 1v1, and there's no two ways about it. He just wants to stall a plant. He's not going to be allowed to, though. Eventually, he'll have to take the fight, but he wins it.
Okay, a little extra.
Okay, I see.
Right. A little early, but we'll,
just lightening the load before the next round.
That's fair. Yeah. Can't take it with you. Might as well spend it.
This flight's got package restrictions, I suppose.
Oh, that's too funny. But it is a little early, I'll tell you that much.
Right, Zeldris just like Zeldris blundered into a lot of that anti-fast hit util that Deadlock does have, right? You can ignore the wall, you can ignore the sonic sensors to some degree, but if the GrabNet gets dropped on the site, you are going to have to respect that.
Yeah, I think the thing too is, again, that's Core trying to see if they could beat the timing of what SAD are trying to do with that utility. And okay, opening spam actually does land on the T-Dog and Snarly here early, but going back to the point of it, that's that's them testing the waters, throwing out a couple of light jabs, seeing if we can get away with this. And now that they know that they can't, I imagine they're going to play this rest of the half with full weapons at least, a little bit more strategically in terms of what kind of utility can we pull, can we get a read on what Deadlock wants to spend when they want to spend it. So that way we can either avoid it or delete it early, and that is indeed the case as you see the barrier mesh at mid, the same double star, double sensor setup over towards C.
Once again, it's Garage that's lightly held. None of the Deadlock utility is actually being committed here. It's all on the C side itself. There are sonic sensors though to deal with this. The Zeldris can't just rush onto the side once more. Hunter's Fury looking to clear. Nothing picked up there by T-Dog though. We're down under a minute.
Yeah, the Hunter's Fury really doesn't affect too much, honestly. I mean, SAD are going to stack towards C for a moment, but these footsteps very well may be heard by Ferbsa sitting in this corner, and that seems to be the case. Here comes the gut check call. You still have Dip with 2 shock darts and a recon to help out Ferbsa a touch.
No double tap for Ferbsa.
30 seconds left. Target down.
Still able to win the fight out. One more kill, we'll have it. All right, here's the B from Nerve now. Core down to 4, Nerve wins it out. Good trade though for Skarn. Tailwind available. Look at that. They syncopate a little bit to avoid the annihilation. Great presence of mind here, but Darkest fires at them through the woodwork. And his T-Dog was 40 HP in a dream.
Man, silence. I'll tell you, Core do not want to have to keep re-wrapping back to B on this offensive side. That is not what you want. And
it was like a concession.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like that's the power of what Deadlock can bring to the table, regardless of their utility being thrown early. It does dissuade you from these gut check calls in towards either C or A. That round in particular, Ferbsa holding over towards the back, the boxes inside the cubby, doesn't need the double tap. He can just throw an undercut out. He can even use the contingency to keep himself planted there. And without having a breach on the table here for Core, those angles are going to be pretty darn free for SAD's defense, and it's going to force them to have to play through B if that continues to be the case. So, I mean, this is already feeling a little bit labored here for Core in terms of how they want to try to play the map. They don't get the timing beat over towards C. The reinforcement of Coburg having these double stars has really allowed that to be the case. And this A angle on the outside through A main has been an easy walk down for SAD. They haven't had to spend anything. Not even more than a recon dart for Dip to get control of this position of the map. There's nowhere for Core to go.
Core might be trying to guess. If there's an extremity push here at C, it means there's likely limited defensive util here. Now they see the 2 stars set up into this line. Coburg was holding it. Earlier on, he actually moves off the line, then re-establishes it, takes a bunch of damage in order to do so, and eventually T-Dog's able to trade in. With Eldra's still caught, though, but now the Astra's not there to trade off of it. Darkus tried to get to the side to punish the Jet, but T-Dog is waiting.
Yeah, and that may be what Core need to continue to do, is just force the issue. It's not going to be clean. It's going to be real messy, but hopefully you can just outwin those gunfights to get yourself a plant. So now you got the trapwire holding against the long flank, and SAD Esports taking their time here, re-clearing out mid. They're going to split this 2-1. 1 through the garage, 2 from the backside of site. And honestly speaking, this is not looking comfortable at all for SAD. There's the contingency, and Belgius has already cleared out the angle on it.
That's just Omen smoking. He's going to swing that.
3 gone.
Another 3K round for them. Make it 4, almost the magic number.
Not here.
But it's being held, as you'd expect, from C Long, and Ferbsa says, I might like to keep this gun, actually. I'm going to dip.
Yeah.
See ya.
That has to be a really inspiring and kind of, generally influential round for Core in terms of how are we going to win this out. It's got to be playing through the sensors, the stars. We have to commit through it. And there's, ways to do that where, again, Owl Drone over the top can give you a good look at it. Again, you could get up and over the grab net, at least mostly, especially if you're finding some good pressure over towards the garage to keep the defense a bit split focus and not just looking right down C long. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to where Core could continue just to hit it with a full flood of utility and make SAD really second guess what they want to do. And you're already seeing the sensor move over towards garage doors. So SAD are very, again, reactionary towards what's been happening.
So arbitrarily, Ferbs is using the double tap straight at the start of the round because much like Tailwind, it has to be set up in advance. If you don't press the site that the ISO is playing, they can't get use out of it. And so we see Ferbs late rotating to the C site without that double tap and not being able to really have any impact here. Again, that might be why Core is avoiding A in general. The gamble stack does not pay off. It's a big hit off the rip.
Yeah, this is because of the weaponry that's in hand right now. So you just clear your corners, make sure there's no shotties hiding in weird spots. Wow, Dirt actually does get red. Hold on, that's going to be a weapon picked up for Coburg. And the rest of SAD are fully flooded. They could overwhelm this from the A connector.
What utils can they work it behind them? That's a problem. Yep, they just drive, swinging it. You don't have utils, so they will die now.
Died.
Coburg.
Yeah.
Coburg will also die, most likely. T-Dog. Okay, able to crash into it. Here we go. 1v2. Time is short. Coburg now with 4. Ace to win the round. It's not to be. Zip puts that to bed.
I don't understand that Cosmic Divide. I mean, I get it. You're trying, again, like we were framing up, full flood through A connector, so you block off half the site. You hope that the 4-man stack can just get benefit of some good angles, but Core already owned the site. That Cosmic Divide was a little too deep, trying to just block off essentially what was just the C connector with it, and maybe a little bit of the mid front doors, but I don't love that Cosmic Divide, I'll say it plainly. And so with that, now Core, have again opened up new spaces to work with. I don't think they're going to want to keep defaulting to playing through B here, Mitch, because that's just not clean, especially against how much a grab net value could find. But against lower weaponry, that's pretty much standard to try to hit through B and just force them to have to win out pistol fights.
Core are just cutting Skarn and Ferbs out of the game entirely, right? If you can't get value out of your duelists, sort of taking that first hit from attackers on defense, you're really going to struggle to get value out of a double duelist comp in general. And of course, just avoid them. Force Skarn and Ferbsa to late rotate to these sites, often after already having used a decent amount of utility. they're not really set up for success at all. And that's what's been happening. Look at Coburg and Darkest, right? They're getting all the action. They're getting all the attention. That's arguably, even with the deadlock, the weakest side to hit. One thing you really want to do to Astra is to try and get in her face. So the deadlock here, not really being considered that heavily by Core as a big threat. They use Zeldris to circumvent a lot of the util, or at least force someone out of position, and then have someone like T-Dog to follow up on it. T-Dog's not the first person on these sites, but he's got 13 kills.
Yeah, and that's not atypical, especially with, again, we haven't really seen it be quote-unquote flash and dash, but there has been the ability of throwing your utility down, Zeldris gets in for the first, and then everything else follows up behind that once you get the info from T-Dog, so it's not surprising. An operator out here, a little bit of a double peek over through mid, not going to work out for Core, and now a new threat has made itself available that Core have to consider. And even worse, Guardian through sewer.
Oh, he's doing it.
That's all you have. That's all you need. Double tap going to be spent, but still, a sad arc should feel pretty comfortable in the rest of this round 5v3.
Now, it's simply a matter of Core trying to thrust their way down the seaside. But there's a bit of disagreement, I think, amongst the team here. Or at least the locations of the likely sonic sensors being pinged out. Double swing here should be the order of the day. But going for trades at this point, down 2 players, is not going to be enough.
No, it is not.
They're waiting maybe for some, yeah, double swing, and they still can't get... That's the second time they've double swung Skarn, by the way.
Yeah.
Haven't punished him.
And, I mean, now it's just, what can Ziff do as a miracle worker through Garage? And honestly,
30
the way the
seconds
eco's
left.
looking, you may just forfeit the round and just save these weapons if you're looking at this from Core's perspective. Timing for Ziff. Well, yeah, he's been seen, and whoa, through the wall headshot here for Ferbsa. So now the round becomes impossible, and Snarly will just sit in this corner for the next 15 seconds.
Yeah, double tap earned back by Ferbsa, finally getting
10 seconds
some bloody
left.
action. Also has ultimate up now, which may be relevant heading into a round where Core don't have the best weaponry to work with. Snarly hears this. Brings in action. Double tap though, that's a problem. And Ferbsa gets the duel he wanted.
There's probably no worse feeling than taking a swing knowing someone's around, then all of a sudden, oh,
It's the ISO?
It's ISO.
It's
All
always
right.
the ISO.
He's just in a glass case of emotion.
Oh, just as the double tap was about to run out too. Bruh, that is brutal. All right, so I get one back. Finally get their ISO and Jet involved in the game.
Yep. And this op is going to be, again, another, just, I don't know how you deal with this for Core. Op's just going to sit on one of the long angles, as it often does. You can rotate the rest of your setups around that, depending on what's being looked at. And Skarn, sees info, just can't quite make the connection occur. And Coburg will have his hands full just a touch here with a lot of pressure on the way in. And honestly, here's the flank here from Skarn. He's just trying to get in with a pistol, so he gets shut down and hold on. And Core are going to come out favorably in the trades.
It's great anti-operator pressure, right? Smoke them off the angle, our drone in, have a player coming from Garage. Beautiful stuff.
planted.
Dip,
Nice.
yep, gonna be in trouble here, but the spike still went down. Dip now. Can you play ahead of this? I think you know Zeldris is close. He doesn't.
I don't think he
has
does.
no idea Zeldris is here. Can he win it? No. Zeldris gets there. Ferbsa now, the solo player. Zeldris low though and had his knife out. That's an easy one. What do you do here? Do you force a duel, Ferbsa? Force a head-to-head stoush? A gentleman's duel? Or are you going to get shot in the back, like many of your predecessors?
Thrifty.
Oh, well, it's the latter. You hate to see it.
And we're starting to run out of fingers on one hand to count the thrifties in this series right now in favor of Core. Another round that I hate to say, Sad is going to desperately want back. But you call it perfectly. The anti-op strat play, as soon as you get a read on that, okay, Skarn's over the top, watching for this peek at C. Let's run through Garage, smoke out the window, smoke over the deep side of C, get through, force the pistol fight, and Coburg, who's sitting on top of the platform, has to worry about so many things at once. You've got the playthrough C long, which is on the way, but because you've lost presence to Garage, you have to watch that as well, and he just kind of gets caught in no man's land. Defense doesn't rotate over fast enough to help him out. The sensors are just a mere inconvenience for the hit, considering that it was all 5 players at once, and yeah, that's a thrifty round that you would have just loved to have seen Sad after the information was read, saying, whoa, wait a second, there's a heavy stack here at C long. We know there's probably going to be a flood on the way. Let's just back off and play retake. I don't know. This gets caught.
Core do predict there's an operator in the previous round, right? In that round 7. And they like double face Skarn a couple of times. They even have like a quasi high-low setup as they swing from mid. And, you know, probably don't have the crosshairs where they need to be to take the operator player down. And then they repeat the same thing over at C-Long. It also kind of gets broken up. They're not able to, you know, nail Skarn, even though it goes down to like 50 health. This time, very different. Use the pace of Jet to close the gap. Smoke off. There's also a backside smoke that I think Skarn had to run through because he didn't want to be caught on the side with an operator at those shorelines. So, good example of how like good controller play can really neutralize those like strong, long lines.
Yeah.
Gonna be up here again, though. Another operator bought by Skarn. Glass cannon, no less.
Mm-hmm. And no updraft as well, so he's going to have to play this from the low ground. He's going to take it to sewer. Do you use Darkest, or use Verba as a little bit of a bodyguard? Yeah, sure do. Double tap out. Op shot will miss. Good reveal on that course playing forward. It's going to force a couple of shock darts, but Core will live through this. Aldro to recontest, and Verbs run on the double tap. Good first blood.
Yeah, I mean, a double tap got broken through smoke instantly. And then obviously there's a window in which you can re-earn it, but the duel was lost. Snarly still with 30 HP to work with. So now you've moved the operator over towards A-Long, which is fine, but Skarn is so low. Has Tailwind available, but it's really about a matter of having a feel for this timing. Probably about 50 seconds, we really start to see things heat up.
Skarn is
going to get caught here.
He's got to trust the angle. He just needs to pull the trigger and keep pulling. Oh, and defense gets too antsy. They're trying to find timing on the off peak. And wait, it works. Dip gets two through sewer, and Skarn pushes up to find another. So now Core are a bit stuck over towards A-Long.
Spike's still basically corralled here in the lobby. I think Coburg there for a moment just realized he needs to slow it up. He will hear if there's a rotate towards B in the garage direction. Not through mid-window,
30 seconds left.
This is a very, very, very important position on the map. He's not going to hear this, though. He will have good timing for a late reflank, maybe quicker than Core are going to be expecting.
And Skarn will watch the entry with the op-op in the corner, so he's going to get this info.
Smoke up the nerve here. Down! Hello! Okay. Hoping to save it for later, maybe. Make the post plant a bit more oppressive. Snarly with 30 health. Double swing this one. Skarn just says, okay, I'm going to get in your face. Just barely. Dip survives it. We'll be able to recover the operator and give Sad that fourth round.
Yeah, that's unbelievable from Dip. And it's one of those moments where I think that the assumption would have been that Sad were going to wait for the commit. I mean, you've got the angle being watched by Skarn with an op. You've got a double stack through sewer, waiting for Core to approach A with your execute, and then you've got a natural flank plus the hopefully ability for Skarn to hit and get out. But instead, they try to play off the weird timing, and they just try to get just a dry peek. And the timing doesn't look like initially it's going to work out. You drop the first in sewer, but Dip comes away with two. Skarn also finds one, kind of catching Core in a little bit of no man's land. So the oddball timing of that play through A ends up turning things back around in favor of Sad. And then Skarn, good reposition, watches that cross into B, plus the Coburg flank. Just gives so much map control back over to Sad. And now Core have to think about this. And again, you can kind of see, you know, you have to probably keep forcing something through C-Long. I mean, if they have not put together any good efforts to controlling A main, that has been Sad's ball game all the way throughout. Some of it by Ferbsa, again, like you mentioned, playing off of the info from Dip, but Core haven't thrown any utility largely at all through A-Long. So either they're going to change that up and try to recontrol A-Long and put Sad into a different defensive spot, or we just need to make sure our execute looks good in terms of what we're spending and where we're spending on a C execute, because these late round wraps to B are just not it.
I think there's a conversation also being had about how to deal with the operator here, because Core are like bluntly contesting a lot of these extremities.
Sound sensor up.
I love the U2 use on C that really shut the operator down in a previous round.
Zero in.
So that situation where like Nerve just sort of swung the angle late in the round, that's fine, that's fair. But how much util is worth to sort of force the operator player off the angle? A lot being used already.
Yeah, that's one way of breaking it down. Just pop the null command. Ferbsa sees everything, though. He at least tallied two, so they can back off and try to readdress this, and maybe even an opportunity to send someone to the arena here just to try to isolate the ability a little bit longer.
Might be an option.
No
Annihilation here as well. Here we go into the arena. It's Snarly going to be caught by Ferbsa. No double tap up for the ISO player, but still going to win it out. Crucial. Now double tap available.
And that's the end.
Or rather with one more kill, I should say. Undercut now thrown in the direction of T-Dot.
Stopping fire.
Contingency will get him into the site. Nobody swinging for him.
One enemy remaining.
T-Dot breaks through that double tap.
Yeah, the barrier mesh was placed in such a good spot. It completely isolated one, but Darkus doesn't get an angle to throw the grav net down to isolate the backside of the site. It was a really good opportunity. That's the whole purpose of that contingency, is to see if you can isolate the player bottom side hell. And it works out decently, but the kills just are not there. One last grav net. T-Dog gonna hit the little crouch position. Op gonna get pulled and saved. So at least that's going well for Sad, but Core still pivotally get their 6th round.
T-Dog might have been stuck there. I'm not sure. Either way, the operator is going to be maintained. Yeah, we saw, of course, that ISO ultimate there. Sort of used effectively, like you win that challenge. Interrupted the plant. No, it wasn't T-Dog that was caught. It's actually Snarly that got picked up first. Yeah, T-Dog is stuck there. Fair enough. Now we know how the loud players felt.
Over there.
True.
It was a very fun map when they were just getting the feel for that deadlock composition. Sadak was trolling, but it got a lot better. All right, another round for Sad here. They're really probably looking just for one more.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Op and Knives here as your kill potential for Sad, and they're going to go aggressive with it. Yeah, trying to find something with a double tap as well. You can I understand the idea, but Zeldris has full awareness that this could be a play. Still works out nicely. Skarn able to keep this to a 4v4, but the hit for Core, I was going to say, you would assume it was just going to run itself down C with the available weapons, but instead they're pausing. It's a lot of respect for where Skarn is trying to get the isolation.
It doesn't do anything about the fact that Darkest has a angle that denies a double swing here.
My ultimate is
But he won't be able to see this pressure until they get right up C long. So like a cyber cage can really break that operator angle up if it's thrown on the corner just as you enter the C side. Okay. Knives eventually clattered to the ground as their wielder also does lifeless, but time is ticking.
I know exactly where you are.
Oh, neural theft. Do they know the deadlock has the operator? They probably figured it out by now. Darkest forced off the site, forced into like a retake position if there's an omen smoke at backseat.
Standing ahead.
Instead of hang instead, they're selling it.
Very cute. Very safe. Very clinical. Don't leave it up to risk. The neural theft doesn't give any intention in terms of where the hit's coming from to even get the recon bolt out of it. So Sad, I mean, I would have figured, you know, not much of a go at this in the first place, considering what was happening, but that's just a really safe adjustment for Core. Send T-Dog on a rogue mission, footsteps are heard, pulls the defense completely out, and it pretty much guarantees the round because of it.
Yeah, now Coburg and Dipple ideally looking to die to the spike, but also can look for an exit. Dip actually does have a weapon, so they might just try and see what they can get and keep a cap again on this economy for Core. That this round is really going to start to stabilize a little bit more. As Coburg down, that was the non-rifle player, so Dip gets what he wants. Rips one out of the hands of Ziff. You know, the operator's not going anywhere. It's very safe play for Darkest, and then we'll be handing that one back over to Scar.
Maybe one more for Dip? No, not going to happen. Oh, maybe.
Last round.
Just don't look away. Look
right in the breadbasket, honestly.
Look away, chat. No, you didn't see anything.
Gunplay.
Aim labs.
All right. So Skarn, yeah, back with the operator now. Look to hold that long C line to start with. Obviously, it's behind some of the stars, and all this deadlock util has been moved over to A.
First time we've seen this look.
Get out of my way.
And you can respect the idea of it, especially considering that Skarn says, I've got C. But does he? Zeldris. Oh, no way Coburg goes to Astra mode there. Like, what? Ugh, dude. No way.
It is so aggressive. Yeah, I guess you think that. I got nothing, actually. I guess it's not ready for the tempo, really, the Core was looking for. All right, just 4 rounds on the half here for Sad. Acceptable, but not great.
Yeah.
Time for some aim lab. Okay. I didn't know they had a program for that in aim labs. Maybe I should do that. The panic crouch smoke one. I'm really good at that, actually. I might get on the leaderboards. Anyway, 4 to 8 here. Core, solid attacking half.
Man. I understand it. Skarn misses the first shot. Coburg says, I gotta pop my stars, but that is not where you want to be going into Astral mode. I mean, what? Like, you're the only one defending Garage, my guy?
It could be a miscommunication. He might think that the deadlock is actually watching Garage. Like, there's a trade opportunity at the very least there. Oh, again, the hit comes in faster than you're ready to, or you think it's coming in faster, right?
Yes.
You're looking to pop those Astra stars, and those are at C long, which there wasn't really a fast hit going on there. So I'm not sure. Bit of a crossing of wires, I think.
Yeah, I'd say. just a feel bad moment, right? I mean, just that's all that is in a nutshell. But things could change here, and you never love to say that you have to win a pistol, but wow, if Sad can win a pistol here, this would be incredible for their opportunities to kind of neutralize that first half.
The ice does look better here.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
You actually get to use that double tap when you want to, as opposed to hoping someone pushes into you during its duration.
And I think the thing is, MXS had a really tough time, like, knowing how they wanted to play retake against this. But I would be surprised if Core makes the same mistake. I have to imagine that this is all about just trying to contest to make sure that you don't get too much loss. You don't give away too much, I should say. And then you try to retake from multiple points. But the problem with that is, and where the strength in this comp comes through, is as soon as Versus takes space, then you've got the deadlock to follow up to reaffirm that it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Zip there's able to find Zip for the back of the side, evening it up. Sad need this. Oh, buddy, do they ever?
Revealing area.
Obviously, that wall is something that has to be dealt with eventually. Here they come. Darkest, beautiful. Absolutely stellar. Zip's going to be there, and now it's going to be up to Nerve, who loses his at a crucial moment. That's what Sad needed. Get that pistol round. Starts to clamber back into the hot seat.
And another moment where we can take the early conversation time here for Core of, like we talked about with that C-long setup that was on defense, do you just overwhelm it with utility and just force the issue? Because you're going to have to do the same thing here. As soon as you know where Ferbsa is, you cannot just freely allow Ferbsa to take control of a site by walking up it, Skarn to follow up with likely a dash, and then Darkest to play with all of their utility around it. You cannot allow that to happen so freely. Now, it's not going to really change much until we get to a full gun round necessarily, but it'll be curious to see if Core try to take an aggressive stance on the outsides of the maps just to try to stall out and maybe force the issue, saying we'll play into Ferbsa's double tap if we have to, just to make sure they don't get a clean pick in sight.
Again, you always know an attacking team thinks something's afoot when they go B first. We're gonna have the deadlock wall thrown up here. And note the placement is such that it cannot be cleared unless you actually swing into that angle. So what are you gonna do? Like smoke on top of the backside of the wall and then blow it up like that? It feels bad, man.
And versus just pistols, B just becomes so easy to take. And it's so hard for pistol players just to hold on to these corners and actually deal with multiple members hitting you from the front doors here. So it feels pretty normal. Core just
is trying to clear it.
Yeah, at the same rate, he's also just trying to see if he can pull focus, because Core just going to die to the spike here.
The fact that it's transparent, right, and penetrable really makes it such an interesting piece of util as opposed to like the Sage Wall, right, where you just sort of shoot at it and then you can't be punished for it. It is a tough piece of tech here, so we're tucked in the corner now, hoping that the plant was far enough up to send up to the other side. And it is. Well, of course, make a swift exit now.
Perfect start here for Sad. Again, you don't want to say that they had to have it, but it's nice to have, I'll tell you that much. So this is where things will start to get interesting. Zeldris already on the operator. That will be one tool to try to lock down one of these lanes, even if you have to spend a shot to deny the double tap. It's not going to feel great, but it does feel a little necessary.
I do want to see if they do use Ferbsa as the blunt object to try and like walk into these op lines.
You would have to assume.
Here.
Looks like it too from what we're seeing here. It goes Zeldris to move up. Oh, hang on. We don't like that at all. Grav well thrown out there. So Zeldris cannot play that corner for now. Double tap active. The battle armor now strapped on by the ISO. Filling all the smoke and push on, most likely. T-Dog always good for it. And we go. Oh, there it is. Perfect example of why ISO's so dirty against the op players. Nerve had a chance to go for two there. Double tap regained. There it is, the deadlock wall and the post plant. So damn oppressive. Player advantage and a post plant for Sad.
Yep, and of course, all you got to do is just commit one player to watch the flank. The sensor revealing so pivotal for Sad, knowing they could run down A main like that. Ziv has to win this 1v1. Does.
Nice.
2v2 all of a sudden. You know Snarly's on one side. What's the timing look like for Core to try to double swing this?
Darkest had the angle. Oh, nicely done. Here's Zip on the move. Can't hold it down. Beautiful stuff by Darkest there. Ended up being a 2 versus 2. Could have been much worse. It is a Vandal at least maintained into the next round of Core. Back to the drawing board. Back to bloody Lumbridge, boys. Figure it out.
And it's just, there's so many issues with this. Now, the thing about it and why I think Core allow Haven to stay in the map pool in the first place, even though they haven't played it, is you know you're playing Sad, and you know if you allow them to get this map in, you know what they're going to look like. So there has to be some sort of a response in mind for Core. That round, it felt like, again, we'll commit the op to hitting the double tap if we have to. Let's just make sure we're contesting these early angles. Let's not allow free entry into the site. But this is so damn difficult to deal with. Ferbsa just gets free A long control, which was the case on the defensive side as well. And the center drone makes sure that SAD never lose control of the shot or the sewers position. The Owl drone is just whatever. You see a couple of players, sure, but it's not going to dissuade SAD from still hitting this site. Although maybe they should reconsider because there are 4 members here in this Owl drone. If it sees it, they may think about something different.
If spots 1. That positioning from T-Dog implies a stack, though. So if there's only 2 players on the side, I'm surprised if you're going to be stood there. Regardless, SAD seem unperturbed. Here come the stars. Nerve going to be paranoid there. Ferbsa spraying through it. Zelda's going to find Skarn early on. Ferbsa, though, gets broken up. The double tap when you're getting faced by multiple players. Not so strong. And, oh, yeah, this is going the way we think it is, isn't it? My goodness.
Well,
T-Dog wants to play safe here for a 2v1 retake.
This would be a 1v4 for Coburg, by the way. But not another Sheriff round. I mean, Uber, come on. This would be 4.
T-Dog just faked sound on stairs there in case Coburg was in hell. It might actually look to just double face there out of Link. Coburg's options are pretty limited here.
Yes, they are. He has to commit to A. No way.
Yeah,
4
man.
thrifty rounds in the series. I mean, I don't think I've ever casted a series that had this many thrifty rounds from one side, at least. I mean, this is wow.
So,
Yeesh.
I will say the Aldrone only sees the 1 player on the side. So I don't think Core, rather SAD, think they're pushing into a stacked site. So this can happen, right? It's just the right call made by Core at a really pivotal point in the series. You get absolutely ranced, of course, by multiple players. Like ISO wants those individual fights.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to face double stacks or anything like that. You will get smashed. Here's another op for Zeldris on the C long line.
Focus. Breaking ball.
Rinse, wash, lather, repeat. Right now, if you're looking at this from SAD.
Can't choose that.
There is a level of it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I won't say it's not broken if you lose to a thrifty. Paranoia really well spent by Core. Does not quite give them a chance of taking the gunfight, so the grab net has 2 players completely locked down, and that's enough for SAD to try to get the plant off. Hunter Shuri called the counter.
Important to point out that if you get caught in a grab net, TPing won't break the sort of hindrance. You still need to crouch and pull the net. That's what happened. I think they heard it. I think Skarn hears the sound of the net being pulled inside Link and realizes that Omen can't have gone far after TPing.
Territory, my rules.
All right, Annihilation. You have my attention. You are losing my attention rapidly. I've now seen a hummingbird outside my window, and I am looking elsewhere.
There's just no way. This is the thing about this setup for SAD and why we start to see it come into popularity for Haven. It's just there is not a lot of ways to deal with this defensively. Yep. If you don't contest it at the choke points on the way in, you just don't win the round. I mean...
Coach Owner's ears are burning wherever he is in the world right now. This smacks of the crew 4-gun save that we used to see. But it's even more oppressive here. Like, you are not retaking that A side against 5 with the deadlock in the post plant. Forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is, like, if Zeldris with this operator is obviously a very cognitive strat of what Core want to do to counter, but it's not going to be enough because of the presence that Ferbsa demands. And the contingency and the double tap negate all of that opening presence if Ferbsa goes the same direction as Zeldris, which at the moment, we're going to likely get that again. It's just a different look as SAD have thrown Rock now 4 rounds in a row. Now they're going to go to Scissors with this C hit. It's going to look exactly the same, though. It's just in a different part of the map.
I love contingency. It's big. Oh, Zeldris run! He gets out only just. Updrive gets him into Garage. He'll have a chance to fight later on in the round. Skarno catches Ziv. The pace of this completely throwing Core off. Dark is throwing it all at the back of the site now. Kitchen sink and all the mates from you could ask for. Plant down. 4 to work with for Core. They can't be saving again.
Barrier mesh going to be at least shot at, but I mean, again, look at the setup. I mean, SAD are fully prepared for this. What do you do? What do you do against this?
I will say Darkest couldn't capitalize on the fact that, it had to be destroyed. Skarn got brought down. Hunter's Fury here with a paranoia follow-up. Coburg threatening T-Dog right now to win it out. Zeldris low. Still has an operator to swing from Garage with that doesn't seem like a likely kill to win out on, but he gets there. He actually wins it. 2v2 Snarly with a touch. Right click.
What?
Had to be there. Snarly now for 3. Dip has to spray at the side and he catches the diffuser. And there's no time left. Zeldris will have to be satisfied with maintaining the operator for the next round.
Never give up.
Wow.
That contingency
This
was
is
everything.
disgusting. This is disgusting. I mean, we've seen it before, like, but watching it and then like actually like, I don't know about you, Mitch, but like when I'm actively like casting a match, like you just see all of the little things that happen, and it's just I don't know how you deal with this, especially with this composition. I'm actually surprised they didn't try to pull a breach comp or something just to slow it down. Like you see a contingency, you fault line it. It at least slows it down. But that wasn't the case here for Core. It really does feel like they think an operator is the best option to deal with the contingency double tap push up. But at the moment, it's just not working. And now we're gonna get an aggressive flash trying to take over A main. That's not a bad option. That's a flash through the contingency, and you almost play it like you're countering a harbor, which I like, but the problem is now you're heavy-handed on one side of the map, and you're left to just Zeldris on the other.
It's you and me.
I get pinched on here. Ooh, okay. Double tap up here. This is scary. Zeldris is he's screwed. He's absolutely screwed. Go shorty, boy. Not going to be enough. Ferbster. Can't really lose there against an operator player with double tap. That is so oppressive. Post plant here. Core. All grouped up. And they have no commander to play with here, but there is a barrier mesh in the way. It looks chalked.
I mean, at this point, I think if you're Core, I think you either have to put Omen on one side, KO on the other. And as soon as you see the contingency, you either throw your paranoia or you throw a flash and you chow it. I don't think there's any other option. You have to take away the extremities of the map. Force Sad to have to make a tough call, late rotate, or force themselves into a B site. I don't know if there's any other option with this composition. I think you have to spend one of those crucial flashes as soon as you see the contingency wall be thrown.
Oh man, Sad now showing us why the comp's so strong on that attacking side as well. I mean, if they get more than 4 rounds on the defense, this could look even more insane. Core here, 4 ultimates to work with, so a good time to call a timeout, as they definitely found it a little bit difficult to leverage Zeldris here. So much of what ISO does basically shuts down those operator players, and Ferbs has been a real pain, pulling Zeldris out of the game, or out of the map at least, and then punishing him from having an operator in the first place. It might herald like the end of, as time goes on, playing that jet operator in this kind of metagame.
That feels so bad.
And this undercut was perfect.
Oh,
by the
yeah.
way. Nerve just dies to a strong breeze there.
Yeah. And that's the other part about it too. If Core do decide to try to challenge these contingencies with flashes, I mean, Ferbsa is still going to be potent because he could just go right into the double tap if he feels like he's getting flashed. He could also essentially just throw the undercut straight forward and make everyone vulnerable to anyone who's obviously not hit by the flashes. They become super deadly. This is difficult. I'm really surprised that Core didn't try to throw a breach at this. I really am. Knowing that this was going to be the setup, it is very surprising that they didn't just try to because fault line's free. You can fault line it through, at least slows it down. But I don't know. This feels not good right now.
Let's see what they put together here. Null command, neural theft. Not exactly the sort of cohort 4 that expect to be the biggest difference makers, but they can work with knives here. Here we go, Ferbsa. Ready to throw down. Cosmic Divide is going to get the attackers in here, nestled to the back of the C site, and they're actually pinging backside for a plant location. They're going for it.
You got to know this.
Ooh, I like it from Nerve. He's got stones. I'll give him that.
I'm really surprised they didn't try to dual command this. They had an opportunity to try to break on through, but now with the Cosmic Divide and the rear match holding onto the backside of this post plant, there just doesn't feel like there's a way for this Thrifty to come through. And there won't be. Man. I'm at a loss of things to say to break this down right now, because it is literally rinse, wash, lather, repeat for Sad. Contingency, double tap, plant, barrier mesh, GG.
T-Dog not bothering here. Hey, my aim is better when I'm crouched. I'm gonna stay here.
It's my happy place now.
Yeah, Core were very embedded on that at C site. Multiple anchor players, of course, with that weaker weaponry. I don't even know. Did we see a Blade Storm there from Zeldris? Unclear. I don't think he bought a weapon in this round.
I don't think he did either.
Okay. We'll get our experts to double check that and get right back to you folks. But for now, T-Dog apparently I mean, he probably feels that if he crosses here, he's dead. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
He's going to wait for Sad to get out, maybe pull the net and then go. Or maybe he's trying to dig for that last elusive can and got the pepper. No, off he goes. Keep the Vandal in hand. Core now falling behind by 2. And that's 3 guns maintained by Sad, who are so filthy rich. It's generational wealth here.
Yep.
You really seem uncomfortable watching this Sad comp.
I'm struggling right now, Mitch. It's legitimately, I just don't know how you counter this outside of forcing more utility through the contingency. But there hasn't been a whisper of an idea suggested by Corey yet. The operator didn't work.
What other util do you want them to use against this like run-up C along with contingency?
I think the only, for Sad or for Core trying to counter it.
Yeah, how's Core countering it?
I think you just have to flash and force them to force the issue before they get out of the choke point. Like, I think you throw Paranoia right here and, you know, try to get someone in sight. Instead, they're just trying to break down the site and trying to play contest with the post plant. And it's just not working.
Nervous trying, right? That's the second round. He's like TP'd in that direction to try and catch Core off guard. But this composition is oppressive. First under double tap here. Will fall to the second player that comes up the challenge. Snarly going to be knocked down. Up to Ziff. Doable. Absolutely doable. Has to happen here. Otherwise, you might as well pack it up. No plant yet. Darkest. 2 sonic sensors. Not really set up to win here, and Ziff saves the day. Literally saves the day for Core.
Yes.
Won't stop Sam from buying up. But still, some of the economic damage limited by bringing Snarly back after the fact.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of reiterate the point, like, you could see what the idea is for Core. They're not really playing outside A long. They set up the Cypher utility to make sure that they can rotate quickly into C to contest with numbers. And then you're just hoping you can spam down the barrier mesh and just fight from the back of sight. With, you know, obviously the limited utility that they have initially. You trust the dark cover to get yourself right back in, but that may be the play. You know, allow Ziff to be the last one back in towards C. Stack a little bit further over towards the middle of the map. You throw the knife. There's no one at A. So what do? You get Snarly to immediately rotate into C. Recon Dart should go out quickly here as well for Core, but the problem is the play through mid gets red, and Coburg will make Zell just know about it, and now the round just becomes unwinnable again.
Yeah, once again, you're forced to play retake here against the Deadlock comp with double sonic sensor and wall thrown up covering garage. You have no option. Core have no buffer and not enough money to go aggressive on a round like this. Instead, they're going to save weapons, buy up 2 more rifles, and at least try and give Sad some trouble.
So I would have to go back and relook at it, but the last couple of hits that we've gone towards Nerd's direction, he has not had a chance to use Paranoia almost at all. Doesn't use it here. He must have used it in the last round later into the attack, but the round before that, I think he also, again, just perishes without the Paranoia being thrown. And
what do you want to see? Paranoia thrown directly at the contingency? Just
to slow down the hit. Allow your defense an extra couple of steps to get in.
Oh no, they get 2 of the guns away. Only 3 rifles can be bought now. In this next round, that's assuming Ziff survives. He does. That's devastating. Sad had the money to throw themselves. They get 5. And yeah, it's 2 stingers to round out the buy here for Core. Oh, that hurts so bad.
This is disgusting. I feel sick. Oh, man. And now here's the other issue for the side of Core outside of the weapons. You also have an Arena to be played, a Hunter's Fury, and an Annihilation. So if you do try to stack for this C defense, you're going to get pulled or dealt with by the arrows from Sova. This feels pretty inevitable right now. Smoke down more aggressively. That'll, again, look at it. Slows things down just a touch. Arena's going to pull Zeldris. He's got a stinger.
Hello, old friend. How's that stinger treating you? Oh, break to double tap. Almost gets there. Okay. Zeldris down now. Double tap re-earns. It's over. It is absolutely over. It's up to T-Dog, who's across the map with a Hunter's Fury. No point taking it into next week, my friend. But again, terrible in a 1vx scenario. He'll throw it out here. Despondently looking for anything. A bite. He'll bloody fish up and need an old boot at this stage. That is where Core are at. Stinger. And Dream. T-Dog.
Spike planted.
Yeah. Straight into a grab net. This one is done, folks. Yeah. This one is absolutely done. Sad. Get it done with their wacky comp that, again, Core seem confident enough playing standard into. They get punished. Clean 2-0.
I think this is... Okay. How do we talk about this? I think, first and foremost, this comp surprised the living daylights out of MXS. Okay, that's fine. We'll just use that as what it is. MXS did put together a little bit more of a better response overall, but still, they were obviously caught off guard by this coming through. They were playing a fade, and I just don't think that they expected this to be the comp. Here for Core, they don't play this map. Haven't played it in a long time. And the comp feels like it wasn't built for denying the ISO. And now the third part of the conversation is, how does anyone beat this without just mirroring it? Maybe that's the only thing you can do. This may be a meta-changing moment. What we're seeing on Haven across the board in competitive Valorant right now with the ISO in the mix. Because Ferbsa is untouchable when he's doing things like this, especially from the offensive side with a deadlock can just be the last one in, placed on a barrier mesh, use your grab net to react to any possible defensive play through a choke point. I think the only other option, if you're not going to mirror this, is to possibly play things like a breach, just because you need to slow it down. I mean, everything is through A long or through C long. And as much as it may be painful to use utility into something you don't know is a full hit, I think you have to defend something that can slow it down that is refreshable. And I think the fault line may be the best option right now, because that's a joke. I'll tell you that much. That is a joke right there.
Every post plant one here for Sad. That is pretty incredible. We saw that, right? That is this map, but it's also a deadlock comp. Basically guarantees it for you to some degree. Core on the attacking side looked pretty darn good. The comp was good. They tried to play fast, ahead of a lot of this deadlock util. T-Dog was often following up on Zeldris. A bit tough for the Jet player, who often felt like they were being traded at best, but that is the map. That's what you're doing against. You're playing against like a stop dead Sentinel, right? You do have to expect that, you double dash to the site and you might just be sat on top of a grab net and traded out there. So pretty solid stuff. And even a couple thrifties in there, which we didn't expect, right? Yep. That was a beautiful gamble over towards that ace site, playing on that with the Sheriffs and, able to punish a full strength Sad pushing in. So good signs from Core. The problem is that, well, you're running out of opportunities to win games. You are in trouble now at 0-5. And, it's been tough. That Group B, no slouches here. Ferbs at MVP, pretty reasonable, I think. That ISO was oppressive. I'll say that word again.
Man, I'm at a complete mental block of what do you do to counter that? Because it looked like the whole idea was Zeldris try to find a way to get the shot with the off. It's just contingency gets so much free space. The double tap afterward gives you essentially a second lease on life. I don't know, Dan. It's that's disgusting. I'm unwell right now.
I actually really like these ideas that Sad we're bringing into this map in a way that it's new, obviously, with the ISO, but it's bringing that taste of when we were seeing the harbor here and we were seeing the wall going in on that sea choke the same way that we saw before, and just obviously just flooding the site immediately. How many rounds did we see Sad do this on the attacking side? Because honestly, towards the beginning of this match, when it was Core on the attacking side, we did get the even matchup, same way that we saw on that map number 1, but that attacking side was fully on this side of Sad. And I think it's great, Uberk, because we did have this question of how they were going to do today if that match against Moy Shopify was a one thing, and that was going to be it. That was going to be the only win that we saw from them. But no, they win this against Core and with the same map pool. I
think what we're actually starting to realize is that the story for us was, MXS haven't seen this composition from Sad. It's like they're not adjusting. They're not used to it. No. This comp just looks like it's generally very strong. We don't, we're just theorycrafting here. We don't really know the best ways to break it down. We're waiting to see someone do it, but Sad are cooking. This ISO, and we've seen it in a couple other regions, is really deadly on Haven and plenty of those maps with those close chokes.
Yeah, I think as long as you have the understanding of how you're going to work out with the wall, that gives you an insane potential of what you can do with the agent. And Sad, they figure it out. They were able to win this map, so it looks great for them. We're going to throw it to a break. When we come back, we have an interview with one of the players from Sad.
My ult.
Shadows traveling.
One enemy remaining.
Nowhere to run. My ult is ready.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. La-
Constant.
One enemy. Last player stand. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
3 gone.
One enemy. One enemy remaining. Last player stand. Spike plant.
Give me those. Give me those.
C. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. One enemy.
Nowhere to run.
One enemy remaining.
Welcome back, everyone. One more time today for VALORANT Challengers North America. We just got the chance to see SAT take it 2-0 against QOR. And now it is the time for the post-match interview. I'm joined by Darkus to talk about this win that went your way. Darkus, congratulations. I want to ask you first, we saw your win against Moy Shopify last week. We didn't really know if you were going to take the win today, but you do in the same map. So tell me, what are some of the things that the team has been working out to get these 2 wins?
So the whole start of our season has been really chalked from the beginning. So it took us a long time to find our footing, but we've just spending more time scrimming, more time practicing. Like we had to up change our schedule a little bit just to kind of get ourselves back in that rhythm compared to everyone else who had all the time compared to us.
And I mean, it works out. You get the 2 wins. You also play the same maps. I want to ask you how you're feeling about the map pool with Haven coming back. Obviously, now you're undefeated on the map, playing it 2 times. So how are you feeling about these changes and the meta on the maps as well?
I love the current map pool. I think, unfortunately, they kept Ascension. I feel like that map is getting stale, and it's the same comps every time. But other than that, the map
One
pool's
day it's
perfect.
gonna go.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. And talking a little bit more about something that we saw in game is that last timeout for QOR on your side for SAD, you were talking and it seems like you're really into it. I want to know what is it like for your impact in the way that you were communicating for that timeout.
Most of my stuff is realizing tendencies, how they're playing, the only way they can really win against what we're doing. I don't think people understand how hard it is to counter what we do just because of the map. It's literally just the map's design. It's not even anything that's crazy.
And I also want to know, we've known SAD for being this very creative team. I still remember that crazy composition that we saw in Ascent on that first split. But you guys always bring a little bit of something new. With this composition that we saw today with the Deadlock and the ISO, is it just your idea or does it come from somewhere else? Especially because we're just getting the chance to see Haven again.
So I can't take credit for this comp. Our current coach Joe, actually asked us to run this comp, seeing as we were behind and we were just picking up people. So it was something we thought about. My main thing was I just came up with the plans, the defaults, what we were doing. But yeah, so I can't take credit for that one.
I mean, it doesn't matter because as long as you get the wins, you make the comp your own and you're looking great. You're undefeated. You're now the last 4 maps that you played, you've won. So that's pretty good. But you have one last match for what is going to be this split. And it's not an easy one. It's Oxygen. So how are you feeling about going against Oxygen?
I'm confident. I've been confident throughout this entire season, even when we lose. I'm ready to just go out 6-0.
Okay, I think that's great. I love the confidence. I mean, you guys are looking great. Yeah, sure, some of the maps, that first one went to overtime, but as long as you're able to close it out, that's a lot more than some teams have been able to do. So congratulations, Darkus, on this win once again. This is everything that we have for the post-match interview, but I'm going to bring my analysts back in to close out today because it's been a day of 2-0s, but I feel like at least for this last match has been very close to 2-0s, Uber, and we didn't get the prediction of QOR right, but I'm okay with it.
I don't know, I don't know what I was
Yeah,
Eating.
me neither.
Eating.
I don't know what I was cooking.
Yeah, that's kind of whack, honestly, like in hindsight. But yeah, look, like we start the day with like an MXS that, you know, we need to see bounce back, right? And we sort of said, oh, well, they struggled against SAD. Like I think that they probably shouldn't have got 2-0. They should have won that second map. The Haven one is, hey, it's anyone's game, right? TSM were, I don't know. I do think there was MXS that were looking much better, much more improved today. TSM really struggled to hold them at bay. That for me was pretty telling that MXS is still in a great position to like be a top team in this group, right? They win there, they're 3-2. That takes them straight up to third, right? So they'll be in the mix. They'll have a chance to at least have their destiny in their control. And then like SAD versus Core. Yeah, we all thought Core would sort of make a comeback here because they looked good last week, but yeah, SAD a little different.
That creativity and the confidence as well that we just heard from Darkets, I think it's a great shift. I think I expected this to maybe go this way. I did expect 3 maps for both of the series, though, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I could have did too. I think just based on the recent results, it's easy to frame up how that could have possibly been the case, but I think a statement has been made for both these squads that come out on top today. For MXS, like we said, back to normal in certain regards. They found what was working for them, and it's, wouldn't you know it, just shades of things that they had done in the past. Whereas for SAD, yeah, again, that first map, and even some moments there in Haven, sloppy. I mean, 4 thrifty rounds in 2 maps is inexcusable. We got to work on that for sure. But I think the comp, obviously, on Haven is going to be difficult for just about anyone to beat. I think we'll probably see Haven played in their next series. So when they play it, I imagine that someone's going to cook something up against it. But, for SAD, that's a powerhouse pick for them right now, and everyone in the league needs to be on notice.
And we just got a chance to see 4 teams going at each other, but we have more action tomorrow, so let's check out what those matches are going to be like, because this is week 5, this is day 1 of week 5, but then look at this Blaine against Winthrop, the universities going against each other, and then Oxygen, Darkseid. I don't know what's going to happen over the second match. I'm so excited about.
For me, like seeing Dark Zero win that game would be like kind of crazy because they're like for me the perennial grinders of tier 2. They really are. Obviously, Oxygen are a team that is built for Ascension. Like that is it. Anything less than that, I think, would just be a fast for them. I like the collegiate matchup. I think Blinn has been the more compelling story here in this stage too. That's going to be a ton of fun. Both games have very real stakes because Blinn are 2-2 in that group as well. And Winthrop can get off the bottom of that group and get in that sort of TSM Dobros SAD Esports mix. That's really important. The second game doesn't have the deepest implication, but I mean, we love seeing the best teams in each group play each other. Yeah. What a day of games, honestly.
Absolute banger day. Bragging rights between Blinn and Winthrop of who's the better CVAL squad. Here for it. And then, of course, 2 undefeated squads. I'm here for it. I can't wait.
Honestly, tomorrow is going to be so exciting. I feel like every week we have one match that we're really excited about, but I feel like all of tomorrow is going to be great. So you guys, you got to watch these one because I feel like there's even a chance for an upset. I don't know which one of the 2, but I feel like it's one of the 2 that we're going to see something crazy going on. I mean, that's just how challenges work. Thank you everybody for watching today. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place for those crazy matches.
Last player, 1 enemy remaining. 10 seconds left. Spike planted. 1 enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Got 3.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Strike down A. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Blood. 30 seconds left. Last player standing. One enemy. One enemy. One enemy remaining.
Nowhere to run!
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Constant.
One enemy. Last player stand. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
3 gone.
One enemy. One enemy remaining. Last player stand. Spike plant.
Give me those. Give me those.
C. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. One enemy.
Nowhere to run!
One enemy remaining.